Welcome to Cooking with Bryan Dixon. What's good, beautiful people? Welcome to the first episode of Cooking with Bryan Dixon. And on today's episode, we are going to be cooking my favorite dish, something that has been taught to me by my mom, something she found and tweaked a lot. It's called tuna pie. Yeah, I know. The name sounds kind of ridiculous, but it truly is a very delicious dish. I am going to be so excited to share it with you. So, I am very excited to get into this recipe. So, first things first, let's get some prep going. So the first ingredient that we will be using today in tuna pie is going to be long stem green onions. I personally love long stem green onions, and I love the way that they complement the dish and the way that the onions break down inside the dish once it's all said and done. So I go ahead and I start out by small dicing the onions from the tops all the way down to the whites, making sure I use all of the onion and making sure I also do not use the roots at the very end of the onion. You do not want those inside of your pie. That will just ruin your appetite. So we get those minced up, we'll bowl those up and then sit those to the side until we get ready to mix all of our ingredients together here momentarily. So the next ingredient up is going to be provolone cheese. Provolone is going to be one of 3 cheeses that goes into tuna pie, the other 2 being Swiss and mozzarella. Now, what you're going to equate to is it's going to end up being about 8 ounces of provolone cheese, 8 ounces of Swiss cheese, and 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese. And yes, that is a lot of cheese, but I promise you the end results are going to be delicious. So if you happen to have to get the provolone in slices as I did, what you want to do is just cut them into thin strips and then small dice them into little cubes so that they will go a lot better in your mixture and in your pie once it is cooking and everything is all said and done. So once you get those all diced up, it is time to get our mixture set up. So you'll want to go ahead and set those aside and get your bowl. And first thing we're going to add is going to be our tuna. Now, as you can see, I have quite a bit of tuna. I use 4 8-ounce cans of tuna. That's because my recipe is going to end up equating to make about 4 pies. But for your first time making this recipe, 2 cans of 8-ounce tuna will be all the tuna that you need for this recipe. Next, you want to go ahead and add your green onions. That'll be about 2 stalks of green onions, your 8 ounces of Swiss cheese, your 8 ounces of provolone that you just cut. Make sure you get all of it because it will stick to the bowl, as you can see there. So make sure you get it all out of there. Next, your 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese, 1 cup of mayonnaise, 1 cup of milk, and can be whole milk, 2%, whatever milk you prefer. 1 package of dry original ranch. Dry original ranch is really going to be that ingredient that gives tuna pie its great flavor, so make sure you incorporate the whole pack. And last but not least, 3 eggs. So once you get all of your ingredients into your bowl, you want to go ahead and get it all mixed up. So it's going to take a little bit of stirring to get everything incorporated. Make sure your eggs get beat in, make sure your cheeses and your onions and everything gets incorporated, as well as your tuna. At the end of the day, once you're done stirring and mixing it up, it should just look like regular tuna fish that you would make for a tuna fish sandwich, just regular tuna fish mixture. But you want to make sure you just get everything incorporated in there so that you can be ready for your next step and ready to fill up those pie crusts once they're ready. So next up, once we get this finished, we'll go ahead and start on our deep dish pie crust. Now, once you get all of your ingredients mixed together, next thing you want to do is get your pie crust ready. Now, I like to use deep dish pie crust. You can make them from scratch if you like, but for time purposes, it will be easier just to use the ones from your local grocery store. So, what I like to do is I will take my pie crust and get them ready to go into the oven, or set your oven to about 400 degrees. And then you'll want to pop those pie crusts in for about 5 minutes just to let them get a little bit golden brown, so that when you put your ingredients in, they don't fluff up. Now, what I like to do before I put my pie crust into the oven is, as you can see, I like to poke holes with a fork on the bottom as well as on the sides of my pie crust. The reason for this is because if you put them in there, there's not going to be anything wrong with the pie crust as they cook. I just prefer to make small holes. That way, once they are coming out of the oven at 400 degrees, they don't fluff up and get those bubbles that they could possibly do if you don't poke holes in them. Once I get them in, I put them in there, and after it comes out about 5 minutes, it should look a little bit like that. And now we're ready to add our mixture. So we'll go ahead and get that mixture added in there. You don't want to add too much mixture. I like to fill mine just about 4 or 5 scoops. Make sure it's evenly placed inside your pie crust. And once you get it all filled to the capacity actually that you would like, then it's time to pop those bad boys right on into the oven. Yeah, I like my pies large, so I add a little bit of extra. Make sure when you place your pies back into the oven, you reset your temperature to 375 to cook your pies. So we'll go ahead and put these into the oven, and they will cook for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. What you want to look for is you want them the tops of the pies to be a nice golden brown, and when you stick a butter knife in them, once you pull those out, they should be completely clear. If you do that, then you'll know that your pies are done. And what I like to do while I'm waiting on my pies to cook is I like to have my tuna pie with a little salad. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna go ahead and take some regular romaine lettuce and cut that up, add it to my bowl, add a little bit of arugula with it. I love arugula. It goes very well with salads for me, so I always do a romaine and arugula salad. Get that all together. I'll also add a few little baby tomatoes to that, give it a little bit of color. Plus I just love baby tomatoes, so they always go well with the salad. And we'll get that all together and sit that to the side, and once our tuna pie is ready to come out of the oven, we'll have a nice fresh leafy salad to go with it. So now that our tuna pie is done and our salad is done, it's time for the plate up and the tasting. I wanted to add, make sure when your pies come out of the oven, you give them about 20 minutes to cool. That way they can come out in this form right here. If you go ahead and cut into them right after they come out, they will just run all over the place. So give them a little bit of time to cool and set before you dig in. And there you have it, my famous tuna pie. Let's try it. Love it. Well, that's all for today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in with me as I cook my famous tuna pie. Make sure you tune in next week as I'll be dropping a new dish. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on your way out. Smash that like button and hit that notification button. That way, once I drop a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you again for tuning in to Cooking with Bryan Dixon. Stay blessed. I'll see you next time.